knitting news for the 33rd week of 2025. The other night at knitting, Jill was working on her lace top. She has now finished the back and the front and was a good halfway through one of the sleeves. So I would think that one will probably be done soon. Helen was working on her blue segmented shawl. Was in her little insert in her little report that I put in last week. And that's a bit like the ugly cat shawl, as in it's a rhythmic, straightforward, enjoyable knit. So she's quite enjoying that. So growing quickly as well, because I was probably on quite a big needle. I am drinking matcha. I couldn't be bothered waiting for the kettle to boil, so I just used warm water, and it's kind of just not quite warm enough. Right then, Helen's also been planning. She's got different wools together, different yarns together, and this is one of the things that she was planning. She's going to make a scarf, but she's going to use a centre panel from this jumper pattern as the cable pattern for her scarf. That was a good idea. I haven't brought my knitting up. Just a tick. Now I've been to get this to show you, but not a lot of knitting has been done this week, really. I don't think it was last week. It feels like it was last week. I've had so much going on. So this is the absinthe. This van, goth, go, whatever. Yeah, Thursday night I didn't have a cable needle with me, so I borrowed Jill's. And then Jill left and she said, "Have you finished with this?" And I was, yes, because I thought I had to do quite a few rows before I needed it again, but I didn't. Is this looking any smaller? Because when this finishes, I'm back to orange. I really like the orange. When I get it out, it's like, woo! So, there we have the cable. That was a quick flash, wasn't it? And I am in the middle of a row. Just coming up to the cable. And I don't think, I've only done a handful of rows since I showed you it last week. So what I thought I would do is show you sort of how I get a little bit organised with my knitting. So I have this book. It says knits on it. In pencil, because you know. So I have in this book different ideas or different patterns that I've seen. And see, that says Jaeger green. That is some yarn I had. But I've crossed that out because I've used it for something else. So these are all musings over quite a few years of things I'd like to make and the yarn that I know I have. So lining up yarn already owned with garments that I like the patterns for. That's a drops pattern. Never made it. That's a pattern I have that I like. That's all lace stitches. So I'll just do a little sketch and write the yarn that I'm thinking of using. So this one, I have made that in grey I kind of like it. It's a kind of a quirky design, you know, with a sweatshirt double pocket on the front. Global warming it's called. Only what I made it in, it shrunk. The last one shrunk. So I thought I might make it again. And I've written down 6 double knit balls, Kid Classic pink, with it being, I mean the pocket might take quite a bit, but with it being short sleeves. I've still got that yarn. I might make it. Some of them have been done. I really did get this out because I got a couple of UFOs out and was wondering what colours went where. Let's see if I can show you some that I've made. They're just musings on patterns that I like and yarn that I think I might make them with. It's interesting. So this one, that was the Gilpin Oak pattern. So I did a little sketch just to remind me that it's in my queue, because actually I bought the yarn for that at one of the wool festivals, Yarndale or Woolfest. Woolfest doesn't happen anymore, but the two were both held in auction, like cattle auction places. So I mixed them up in my head because the venues were so similar. I can't visualise the differences between the two venues. Debbie Bliss lace cardigan, that's the one that's in the lace weight that I have made eventually, and Jill's made it about 5 times. That's my Zweig, and it says 2 skeins of black elephant drops alpaca for the mane, and that's the Zweig sketch. So it's rough, but I know what I'm looking at from that. I've got a page with a few shawls on. Yeah, there's some that I've got the pattern and the yarn, Rowan colour spun, and it's got, I think it's got deer. I always think, have you ever watched somebody's face when they're mowing the lawn? I used to have a next door neighbour who used to go weightlifting, and he used to take his top off every time he mowed the lawn. He used to make sure it was a sunny day, I suppose. But he used to have a moronic grin on his face rather than doing it like that. So I always think it's funny the faces people pull when they're not thinking that anybody's looking. I wasn't nosing on him. I could see him out my front window just where I was sat. Now that's LYS. Is it Little Yellow Sweater by Deary Knits, and it says blue from Woolfest, but I know that blue from Woolfest has been used for a different sweater, a sweater out of Pom Pom magazine, and it's a UFO because I've actually got short arms. I know this is a short sleeve cardigan. I took all my measurements from dressmaking pattern, and my arms were 10 centimetres shorter. Everything else was kind of would fit in, and I'd be able to cut something out, but the sleeves would always be too long. And so therefore, if you have a sleeve that's bigger here and then you decrease, don't you, as you get down to the bottom, or you start there and you increase. If it's sort of every 8 rows, I might do it every 6 rows, so that I get all of the decreases in time for the sleeve to be the length it needs to be. So I did the decreases in the blue sweater that I'll have to dig out and show you too quickly, and so the sleeves are too skinny. So that's a UFO. Now I will show you that. I'll probably show you that next week because I've got 2 UFOs here to show you this week. I don't know what half of this is. Traveller's shawl. Oh yes, lime green and charcoal. The one at the top. Now I have got sort of halfway with that. Now that's why I don't want to put this shawl down. If I put this shawl down, this orange one, I won't pick it up and it won't get done. So I have to keep going. By the sea. That's just quite a plain shawl with a ripply edge. And I really like that one. But there are a few patterns called that, I think. What I was looking for, Elton. Hawkey Locatelli. Said it right this time, I think. That is a UFO. Sislov shawl with acid coloured yarn from Maggie, who used to just dish it out, the yarn, because she knew she had sable, which is stash, available beyond life expectancy, something like that. Yes, she knew she wasn't going to knit all the yarn that she owned, but she loved to buy it and support people. And then this is Shinobu Sasaki Collecting Breeze, which you might remember I made not too long ago. It's got a little mohair insert around the hem. Looks like you've got 2 tops on. So that one was made. I think that's about it. Oh, this is my sketch for the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run that was hosted by Politically Incorrect Knitters, and that's here because that is a UFO. This is made with Wensleydale long wool. I think they call that because it's got a long staple. So the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run was to be mostly knitted with black yarn. It's quite nice, isn't it? So that's my 2 fronts and my back. It's got a very deep button band on it. Looks very gappy on here. It's all sort of rolling. It'll probably be alright once it's blocked. It should be. If the moths haven't had it. And in here I have a picture of what I'm making. And you can see there's like a wide button stand that gets wider as it gets further up. And I hope I haven't adjusted it for one side because I'll have to repeat it for the other side, and if I've adjusted it I don't know if I've written it down or not. We've got in here stitch markers. I need to go through all my bags and get all my bits and bobs together because Diary 1996. What day is it today? 18th of September. I don't think I wrote everything in this. I think this might be my... Oh yeah. October. September. If there's anything in it, I'll read it to you. It's just appointments. It looks very boring. It's just my shifts. Boring. Well, my life was boring then. So now in September, in 1996, I was doing that. I think I purely had it to write shift times in because they were all over the place. That's about it. Mrs. Brown, 2 o'clock. Going out with Eileen. Well, know why I've still got that, really. I should probably bin it. Oh, look. I don't... Oh, there is a little cable down the front of that, so I'll keep that in that bag. So that's one UFO. Don't know. I don't know when it's going to be an FO, but I do like it. Actually, you can tell by the back, can't you? If the back's going to be big enough. Which it is. I mean, it'll be kind of like a fitted cardigan. Because that's how I like them. Like this one, which is... It's called lace cardigan. I'll put it on the screen because I've mentioned it a few times anyway. Still can't remember what it's called. The other UFO is one that lots and lots of people have made. It's the Find Your Fade by Deary Knits. And I have a big bag full of different colours, and the reason I was looking for information was so I knew what went where, because I think I had it all worked out, because if you look at the pattern there's varying amounts of yarn needed, so it was a good way of using up scraps. Part balls. I love making shawls, and I do actually wear them, but it's just stopped there. I'm not quite sure why. I'm recording a bit later on, and I think the light's a bit shining off things. Oh, it's a bit dark. This section's silk. So that's that. Another UFO. It's got a mauvey coloured, that is kind of mauvey grey Shetland wool. It's got lots of colours in it. That's silk. I've got a lovely shade of mustard. And it's all 4-5. And ooh, that's a nice skein, isn't it? So these all blend in together. I don't know why I stopped. Maybe if I was doing some baby knitting or something like that. So I just thought I'd show you a couple of my UFOs. I've done a little bit of spinning. A very little bit, and I shall get on with that and get that spun, and then I've got all my colours ready. And did I show you last week? I think I did. That's the most recent one, and the last one's lilac that goes with them. And then I have to fathom out what I'm going to make with them. Or applying double knit, and I'm not quite sure where. And if I've spun some of them a bit thicker or a bit thinner. But we will see. It'll be interesting, won't it? So this weekend I've been busy again, which is why my video's late-ish again, but I don't suppose it really matters when it is. And last week it was Wednesday, I think, and this week it might be Tuesday, because this weekend's been busy, but not quite as busy as last weekend. So this weekend I've been in Whitley Bay. We visited St Mary's Lighthouse, which was stunning, especially on a sunny day with not a single cloud in the sky, and it looked like it had been freshly painted as well, so it was just pure white and pure blue, which was just gorgeous. and we saw some seals. And then we slept in our van and we did a bit of a wild camp. Well, it wasn't wild. Well, it was wild, but in a different way than you might think. So we were in a lay-by next to a cemetery because that's where I'd found on Facebook that would be a good place to just park up for one night, because there were no available campsites close by. And it's quite a hot spot for boy races. So actually they were going down to the St Mary's Lighthouse, and always have. But not being from there, I didn't know this. And they congregated in the car park when we were there in the evening. And they carried on driving up and down and past the van till about 1 o'clock in the morning. Tim went to the toilet in the van, and there was this on the back of the van, and I just thought he'd fallen over. And then I heard people running off. Our lights were on then, and then a car drove off. So it wasn't teenagers, it was young adults. But it didn't really frighten us. But I didn't know what the night was going to be like, and by that point we couldn't be bothered moving anyway. Anyway, it was all right, except for a lot of traffic. I thought Whitley Bay would be a bit like Seaton, but it's not. It's very, very busy, because it's kind of like near Newcastle, so it's city seaside. It's on the metro train, like the local train links from Newcastle, but I've never been there before. So the reason I was there was for Let Women Speak Again, which was quite splendid. And again, the colours were just beautiful. So there was a lot of people I knew there because it was in the northeast, and it was outside. It was very warm, so there was quite a few women spoke, and then there was a trans activist that spoke, and she was allowed to speak, but she could not define what a woman was. And being one, that's a bit difficult, really, isn't it? How could you not know? So that all went kind of well, and well, it was all handled very well, should we put it that way. There was some interesting speakers, and if you want to go and have a listen to that, that's over on Kelly J. Keen's channel. But I think she's already moved on to something else. She's got no breaks. So just on to the next thing. So I think that's about it for this week. I might actually get some more knitting and crochet and things like that done before next week. So I might have a little bit more to show you. So for now, more news maybe next week.
To be a man when nobody believes you. We don't want young women to cut their breasts off, to take harmful testosterone that leads to Alzheimer's, chronic illness, brittle bones, osteoporosis, and deep anxiety that they never recover from. That their vocal cords get deep in a way that they sound like they're being strangled, and nobody believes that.
Oh, went to Oldham, got some yarn.